I love Slowpokes, Charlie. If you had asked me like a year ago what my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon was, I'd probably say Arcanine. And there was no competition. But now Nidoking has wriggled its way into it, but now actually the undisputed champions is Slowpoke and Slowbro. Look at those sleek curves, that expression, that shellfish nature. Okay, that was bad, but yeah. I saw on Twitter a while back people talking and making their own what-ifs for Slowpoke evolutions. If other Pokemon had a big old chomp of the brute, and I wanted to join the fight. So I'm here to answer what if other water types latched onto Slowpoke and it evolved. Let's start with my first concept. Obviously when Shellder latches onto Slowpoke, they don't really keep their Shellder or Cloyster look about them. So I tried to, with some of them, keep this idea. With Veluza, I wanted to make it that the form that latches and evolves with Slowpoke sort of becomes the filleted away version. Just a glowing purple skeleton tail with a sort of Veluza-shaped face on the end. Slowpoke himself becomes a taller, more lanky, and dare I say more evil-looking version of a Slowbro. Although this isn't Slowbro anymore, it has become Slowblow. Get it? Like low blow. I know it's kind of silly that a Veluza latches on and it doesn't stay Psychic type, but I thought it becoming Dark type would be kind of fun. And hey, Slowbro doesn't become an Ice type when Cloyster attaches to it. That sounds interesting to do though. Write that down. This one would be a very shady in its animations Pokemon, probably walking about hunched and spooky, maybe even the Veluza tail, only coming out in battle and only really having like a tail stump there instead. Slowblow, the brute Pokemon, a dark and water type, evolves from Slowpoke when exposed to a Dusk Stone. Slowblow are the brutes of the Slowpoke family. When a Veluza latches onto Slowpoke's tail, it aims to wrest control from them. This unleashes something in Slowpoke's brain, something sinister. The power emanating from their tail is used like a bludgeon. It is highly serrated and is always used with intent to bleed the opponent dry. It can be seen greedily chomping down on Shellder, their teeth sharp enough to easily crush their steel-hard shells. Slowblow have the abilities Defiant and Insomnia. Unlike Slowbro, I'm not as loving of Slowking, even though he can talk.
Guess again.
But I still thought some Slowking representation would be nice for all of our Slowkings out there. For this one, Jellicent decides to float over and latch onto the head of poor Slowpoke. And they become, instead of Slowking, Slowqueen. I decided to only use the less pringly version of Jellicent for this one, as it fit a bit better into the colour scheme of Slowpoke already. Becoming a bit of a simplified Jellicent sort of balloon head that allows Slowpoke to float. Well, depending on its ability. I was thinking of making it water flying, but I wanted to include the tail being this ghostly Dragapult kind of tail, where it popped off from, so water ghosts here, and it gives me sort of Mario jumping vibes or something like that. Man, imagine in game when it attacks or is encountered, it just puffs its head up to insane degrees. I think that justifies its ghost type in and of itself. Slowqueen, the royal Pokemon, a ghost and water type, evolves from Slowpoke when exposed to a Dawnstone. When a Jellicent latches onto Slowpoke, it becomes Slowqueen, meaning to feed on them, and instead becomes a symbiotic relationship. Due to the buoyancy of Slowqueen, they detach their tails in water to sink just a little to attract prey. It will then snatch up unsuspecting Pokemon with ghostly energy. This Pokemon can easily drift through Jellicent territories without suffering their ire. If a Frillish gets too close, Slowqueen will sneakily devour it. Slowqueen have the abilities Levitate and Curse Body. This one is kind of a stretch, but the idea burst into my head and latched on like a Shellder. Dracovish is such a delightfully ugly designer in the most endearing way possible. So what would happen if it chomped down on Slowpoke? So the idea here was that the front area where there is normally like that flat swirly part now houses the front part of Slowpoke, now with a little extra Dracovish flair added to his ears. While Dracovish partakes in a bit of the Slowpoke, gaining some much more spaced out Slowpoke eyes, losing some of its sharpness, and most of all getting a new tongue, being a delicious smelling Slowpoke tail tongue. I love these two together. They actually make a sort of cute dynamic in this weird, horrific, chimeric abomination way. Water Dragon for this one too, keeping the Dracovish typing here, but leaning a bit more towards a spread stat, sharing both of the forms together. Now we just need a sitcom between these two. Slowdraco, the mistake Pokemon, a dragon and water type, evolves from Slowpoke when creating a Dracovish, using up the Dracovish in the process. This recently discovered Pokemon was created when an especially hungry Dracovish chomped down on the Slowpoke tail. While Slowdraco is now able to breathe air and water, it has lost even more brain power. The two heads of Slowdraco get on surprisingly well, leading to both of the heads having similar thoughts. When thoughts actually run through their head, however. It employs the tongue of the top head, which has a sweet scent to it to hunt prey. Sometimes the top head chomps down on it though. Slowdraco have the abilities Oblivious and Swift Swim. This one started out as a bit of a goof. Well, I guess all of these did, but this one even more so. I wanted to make a Slowpoke that didn't have any real legs to them, so Milotic was the perfect Pokemon for it, especially so it can make it a beautiful slow maid. This one is a bit more together, getting a beautiful singing voice and just becoming really long. The best thing about my design here is that the sort of connection between the Slowpoke and the Milotic there, because it kind of looks like a Milotic just opened its mouth there and went nom. But yeah, I wanted to play up this sort of generic depictions of a mermaid. The shell bra is actually more of Milotic's ear, antenna, whatever bits, as well as becoming part of its tail, while its actual fantail becomes a beautiful hair frill. For this one I went Water Fairy. I mean, it screams Water Fairy, or maybe I should say sings Water Fairy. Slowmaid, the sass Pokemon, a fairy and water type, evolves from Slowpoke when given a Prism scale with max beauty. When a Milotic latches onto Slowpoke, it becomes the sea-bound Slowmaid. Its voice becomes healing and capable of soothing the emotions of even a raging Gyarados. Many trainers who are hunting for Milotics grow enraged when they find they have mistakenly fished up a Slowmaid. The Slowmaid takes great offense to this and will attack with tail slaps. Large groups of Slowmaid live in deep trenches where they hold concerts for other Pokemon who live deep below. Slowmaid have the abilities Marvel Scale and Liquid Voice. Samurai Slowpoke. Is there anything more that needs to be said? I thought it'd be fun if for this one it was almost like a fusion of Golisopod and Slowbro. Slowshido gets all the best parts of Golisopod without the horrible reality of emergency exit. The best thing about this is that Slowpoke gets the bug type and gets to be a samurai. What a lucky lad they are. I love these weird shapes on the top of Golisopod's body, so I defs wanted to include these on the designs of Slowshido. Just looking at Golisopod as I did this made me really wish he didn't have that ability, because I definitely have it on my team. Guzma knew what was up. It was a little difficult to get the perspective right for all these different parts. Not many Pokemon have these interlocking plates and all that, but I guess this comes from the samurai aesthetic. Slowshido, the armor Pokemon, a bug and water type, evolves from Slowpoke when given either auspicious or malicious armor. When a Golisopod attaches to Slowpoke, it evolves into Slowshido, gaining a powerful carapace and dangerous claws. It fights Pokemon that bully others, especially their groups of Slowpoke that it once was part of. They're quite heavy and so will sink to the bottom of the ocean floor and will dig around with their claws to find particles to feast on. If they are feeling especially brave, they'll eat larger Pokemon, sometimes even Wimpods if they are fast enough to do so. Some Slowshido can't return from the seafloor. Slowshido have the abilities Battle Armor and Weak Armor. Imagine a scene where a Slowpoke was fishing and an entire swarm of Tatsugiri all just started munching on his tail. This evolution I thought would be funny because I got the chance to turn Slowpoke into a sushi chef Slowbro. I heavily referenced Dondozo for this one, as I thought it would make a lot of sense for it to become very Dondozo looking in design, with the weird head parts that make that cool sushi chef bandana. I like how Dondozo's tongue is shaped like that sushi board. Slowmei is capable of popping out its chest to make its own sushi board. I also wanted to turn Slowmei's fingernails into these sharp blades, its own sushi knives instead. Slowmei sort of looks like a catfish in this form, and takes on the water fighting type. He's fighting for his food. Slowmay, the chef Pokemon, a fighting and water type, evolves from Slowpoke at level 37 after leveling up from food-based EXP. When a Tatsugiri latches onto a Slowpoke's tail, it evolves into this form. Slowmay will seek out Dondozo and other Pokemon known for preparing meals to learn much in an attempt to become a master. It likes to create food for other Pokemon. It has a plate in its body that can extend, as well as 2 sharp fingernails it keeps clean and honed. It will use all these to prepare delicious meals for any Pokemon that asks. It, however, is incredibly dense when it comes to anything beyond these concepts. Slowmay have the abilities Purifying Salt and Sharpness. There's another water type I love a deep unending love for, and it's Gastrodon. Mainly the West Sea version, but I'd never say no to an EC type either. This version is sort of much like the Golisopod, where a Gastrodon has taken over the Slowbro a bit, being this gooey Gastrodon mantle for Slowpoke. Honestly, I might like this more than the other 2 Pokemon by themselves, because we get the best of both worlds. But maybe also the worst of it too, as this would be such a slow Pokemon. All the slowness of mind of Slowpoke and the goopy slowness of a Gastrodon. I really tried with this one to get a sort of Pokemon look and perspective to it. In fact, with all of these, many of them were art style tests that I got too into and ended up making them into a video, so lucky you! Slow Gastro, the Muck Pokemon, a ground and water type, evolves from Slowpoke after being hit with 30 ground type moves. After Gastrodon takes a nibble of Slowpoke's tail, they evolve, becoming Slow Gastro. This slow moving Pokemon loves nothing more than to devour everything in its path mindlessly. It has a sticky rubbery body that allows it to climb up most surfaces and will protect it from being thrown against sharp rocks in turbulent waves. During this, it has no thoughts about its predicament. Trainers find its vacant expression and gluttonous nature endearing, and many people keep it as a household Pokemon. So Gastro have the abilities Water Absorb and Gooey. What Pokemon would you combine with Slowpoke? Comment below what you think, and your thoughts on the designs in the video. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
No. Wait. Wait.